Hey, welcome to Worship Tutorials. I'm Bradford. We are at Eno River State Park, not too far from Durham, Hillsborough, North Carolina. It's just a simple idea to be somewhere a little more stripped back, maybe not stripped back to you, but to us, it feels more natural and just we're here. And it kind of brings me to the ideas that I want to share with you today. For some people, just two ideas. For some people, this may be encouraging. You may feel like, man, I'm on the right track. This is good. I'm doing exactly what I should be doing. For some people, it may be a challenge to hear what I say and to consider implementing these two things. Very simple ideas. I've shared it before on social media, but I didn't really expand upon it. And so I thought maybe we could do a good video just talking about those ideas a little bit more and to just give you some perspective, encouragement, a challenge all in one. So you're on a app right now that allows you to consume media. That's how you're watching this. And there is no shortage of ways to consume things. But what typically gets put on YouTube or social media? We typically put the greatest parts. We're not gonna put subpar, okay, mediocre, moderate things. We typically wanna put on the best of the best. And so we're typically engaging in and viewing things, music sets, worship moments from churches that are like the best of the best. And so it's real easy to think that what we see needs to be the standard for what we do. But I think oftentimes we forget that that is like an extension of who those people, those individuals, who that band is. You're not just seeing like how they operate every single day. You're not seeing how they have been their whole lives. You're seeing moments that were, no, they're not fake, but they were handpicked to be put in front of you because of how great they were. And it's easy to get a little discouraged when we see all our moments with our church, with our people, and be like, man, they're never like that. But if we were honest with ourselves, we don't need that every single time we engage in a worship set. They don't all need to be mountaintop experiences. And if we were to dig deeper, we'd probably see that these people that we watch on social media and YouTube, those moments are the handful of mountaintop experiences. And not every single moment, not every single Sunday is like that. That's not to say that those moments aren't important or powerful or impactful. I say it more to hopefully be an encouragement and to tell you that if not every Sunday looks like what you see on YouTube with, Bethel or Elevation or Hillsong, whatever, if it doesn't look like that, that doesn't mean that you're doing things wrong. Simple idea, but I wanted to kind of convey that to you. We typically think we need to do more. We see that, we think we need to do more. We need to be better. And there is absolutely a time and a place for that. We should always be striving to get better. We should always be striving to improve. But what I see and what I think about is this idea of Martha and Mary. Mary and Martha. Jesus is at the house and Martha is just doing all this work. And she's like beating feet trying to get stuff together for this meal for Jesus. And she complains to Jesus. You know the story, I'm sure. She complains to Jesus to ask Mary to help her because she feels that it's not fair that she's doing all this work. But what's Mary doing? She's sitting at the feet of Jesus. And Jesus actually says to Martha, she's doing a good thing because she will not always have me. And it's a very important thing to think about in terms of ministry. Martha is busy doing and Mary is busy being. So I would like to suggest to you this very simple idea of being like Mary and making your focus to be with Jesus first. We can't possibly think that we can lead people to the feet of Jesus if we haven't been to the feet of Jesus on our own ourselves. We can't take people somewhere we haven't been. We can't pour out of an empty cup. We need to have a full cup. There's this idea of anointing, and I really want to talk about that too, because that in another video, because that topic is one I'm still trying to understand myself. But we see this idea of somebody being super anointed and we watch them on stage, but I think we kind of misconstrue what that actually means. The simple idea here is when we're leading worship, and yes, I'm speaking primarily to the worship leaders, but it doesn't matter really. Any aspect of church ministry and leading people, We need to make sure week in and week out, before we step on a platform, before we communicate with people, before we try to lead people in a spiritual mindset, we need to make sure we have spent time with Jesus. So I'm sure that was kind of like the Sunday school spiritual answer, and I'm sure you're probably expecting that, but I wanted to break it down because I feel like it's a two-parter. We need to spend time with Jesus, and then the other thing is more practical. We just need to be prepared. We just need to know what we're doing. And again, it probably comes as no surprise, but like I was mentioning in the beginning, I think this is going to speak to two people. Hopefully this encourages a certain group of people who feel like maybe they're just not doing enough, and they just need to be reminded of why they're doing what they're doing, and to hear that whatever you think about me, maybe I'm somebody who may have a little inkling of something and may have something to say about leading worship and doing things in this kind of arena. And then there may be another group of people who watch this and may realize, I need to refocus. I need to recalibrate what I'm doing. So the other point is a little more practical in terms of what, one was spiritual. I'm sure that probably didn't come as any surprise. You want to be a good worship leader? Spend time with Jesus. Yeah, no duh. But I think together, when we look at these together, I think it just helps us realize that it's really way more simple than we make it out to be. Second point, you just need to be prepared. There's a lot of other things we can try to do to take things over the top. There's a lot of cool things we could try to add, cool transitions. We could add cool moments. We could find cool videos, like a cool spoken word. All that stuff is great in the right context, but we overcomplicate things. And I think we forget the simplicity of being very prepared. Sometimes choosing new songs often or trying new things with your team may make sense. It may be the right decision. But I also think that we choose new songs too often. And you've probably heard this discussion before, at least from our channel. And you may think that oh man, we do that song all the time, whatever it is. I know for me, the song I always thought about was Great Are You, Lord. But the reason why it felt like a lot was because I listened to it so many times preparing all the resources for my team. And then we rehearsed it a handful of times at rehearsal. And then on Sunday morning, we probably did it at least twice, for run through practice. And then we had 2-3 services, what have you. And you hit that song, and by the time it's all said and done, you've probably heard that song 20 times and your congregation's heard it once. And so I just want to encourage you to just look at how often you've actually done a song. Well, you can do that on Planning Center. If you use Planning Center and you keep track of things, you can see how many times it's actually been scheduled, because you're giving your people an easy way to engage. Often I see people say, man, my church, they just don't sing. They just don't engage. Well, yeah, but how often are you doing new songs? How often are you changing things up on them? Do they know? Can they even grab onto a song? It's just something to consider in that idea. But that may not apply to you specifically, but this still the same idea, but a little more focused. Just how prepared are you? Do you actually know the song you were leading inside and out? How well do you know the lyrics? Are you guessing at chords? I understand the idea of memorizing your music and not using a music stand is hotly debated in a lot of ways. And I understand that, we have confidence monitors giving us lyrics, and some people think that, well, that's just as bad as a music stand or what have you. But I'm not suggesting you do this just for the sake of doing it, just because it's an excellence thing. It makes you look professional. I'm suggesting it because when you do that, you are able to actually lead a song with authority. You're actually able to engage with people just by the way you, with confidence, sing and lead a song. You may have heard the phrase, learn the rules so you can break them, or the idea, you got to learn the rules so you can break them. Well, this can apply to songs too. The rules being the actual structure and format that the song was written with. And then from there, when you know it so well inside and out, you then can take freedoms because you know the rules and you know how you can break them and kind of do things differently. And that's where I think freedom really lies, is when you know something so well that you can change it up and it doesn't throw you off kilter, it doesn't mess you up, and you can add something a little special. I firmly believe we will lead better with more confidence and be more effective, whatever that really means, right? In the terms of leading our congregation in worship, whatever the effectiveness of that really looks like. If we're very well prepared, we know our songs really well, and we know that we've spent time with Jesus, and we feel like it doesn't even have to be anything mind-blowing or earth-shattering or the deepest, most spiritual thing. But if we know in our spirit that Jesus has filled us with his presence and we're leading out of that abundance. I know for me, I don't lead songs as well when I feel like I don't really understand the lyrics too well. If I constantly am looking at a confidence monitor, it doesn't matter how well I may know the music and the chords. I could have played lead guitar in the song 40 times, but if I don't know the lyrics, and it has happened where I've known a song musically so well, but not lyrically, it just doesn't feel like I can do it. So 2 very simple ideas. Spend time with Jesus, and I don't even need to talk this much. We could make this a 30-second video. Spend time with Jesus and just be prepared. And it'd be crazy, especially if you spend time with Jesus as a team and you spend time making sure you know the music really well at rehearsal, not just throwing it together. Simple ideas, I know, but just break it down. Go back to the basics. How are we doing with these things? Take a look, take an inventory, and make sure that you've got these 2 down first before you start going and all this extra stuff. And I just would like to know what you see happen in your ministry. If you want to leave some comments below, we always encourage that. We want you to do that. Let us know if this is something you need to try to figure out yourself. Let us know if maybe you did do this, or maybe a revelation you had similar to this at some point and you've seen your ministry change. If you're just like in a rut, I would just say this is a good thing to try. Make it easy, break it down, take it slow, and just see what God does in your church. Thanks for checking out this video. We got lots of other stuff, topics like this coming, or we have other topics that we've discussed kind of in this nature, these ideas in this nature. If you would like to see those, make sure you subscribe. We'll see you next time.